If last summer you would have told me that instead of watching Tour de Fleece on YouTube, I would be actually participating in it and also making a video about it, and also I was processing raw alpaca fleece, I would have told you you're insane. Hi, my name is Nadya. I'm the face behind Lemonknitdk channel, where every Thursday we discuss all things knitting. July is in full bloom, and for some people it means vacation, for some people it means a lot of sun, sunbathing, swimming maybe. For some it means Tour de France, and for some it means Tour de Fleece. Now, if you're not into spinning, you might not know what that is, so a quick explanation. While Tour de France is on, the bicyclists are biking and they're spinning their bikes. At the same time, the spinning community spins on their wheels. So they're pedaling, we are kind of pedaling. And last year, I've been watching so much content about Tour de Fleece because I really liked how people were just making yarn out of nothing. Well, I mean, out of fiber, but still, like, how is it possible to not just buy yarn, but make it? It feels like sorcery. A few months ago, my dear friend Amy taught me how to spin and also lended me her wheel. She lended me her Lue S10 and she told me I could borrow it for unlimited time, like she will just need it for plying her own yarn. So I did borrow it. I started with the ugliest yarn ever created. I was slowly making more and more art yarn because I could not grasp the way you should use the wheel properly. And then some moment it clicked. In my brain, I finally got the flow of spinning. Let me just tell you, it changed my life completely because now I have a thing to do instead of, for example, meditation, where I can just sit with my thoughts and just relax, release the stress, and enjoy some spinning. And in the end, I also get some yarn. Somehow it turns out it's not the main thing for me in spinning. Like, I prefer the process over the yarn itself, which is weird because this is the process of creating yarn. But I really, really, really like the process of spinning. So months went by. I was diving into different fibers. I've tried this and that, different sheep breed, different animal breeds. I tried alpaca silk, for example. I was just like occasionally enjoying myself with a wheel and some of the fibers I thrifted or bought. Then two things happened in the vicinity of 1 month. The first event that drove me into the direction of my life that it's taken it now was my friend Amy got a lot of raw sheep fleece from another knitting YouTuber, Knitgeneur, here on YouTube. And it was raw fleece, it was not washed, it was not scoured, so she had to go through the whole process of turning this raw fleece into yarn. I was helping her a little bit along the way. I recorded content in her bathroom where it was smelling like, well, like sheep and poopies, because sheep do smell like poopies. It makes a lot of sense, right? They poop. But it was so much fun. I was helping her picking the wool, and we're both enjoying this experience of just like being closer to the nature of our craft. Then the second event happened. And that event actually you have seen the beginning of in my first year of YouTube vlog, where I showed you some videos from the festival Garner Gordon that we were vending finger-named yarns at. And there was another stall, like another vendor, Meulebackens Alpacas, who were selling alpaca yarn made from alpacas from their own farm. We had a lovely chat, such a cozy communication, and after having a chat, I flew by to another vendor who was teaching me how to chain ply my yarn. But Amy stayed at this lovely lady's booth. So skip forward 15 minutes. Amy comes back and says that she just agreed with the lady that she will give us around 5 kilos of raw alpaca fleece. You can imagine my face when she said that. I did not believe that was possible. But basically, one of the alpacas on their farm is a grandpa alpaca. He is 12 years old. His name is Pegale. And when alpaca gets older, their fur is not that soft. So it would cost more to send this yarn to a mill for them to spin it than they will be able to get from selling it because it's not that soft. So we got this fleece, and Amy brought me 2 huge bags full of alpaca fleece. It was a moment that kind of changed my life, literally, because now in my apartment you could have seen 2 huge bags of alpaca standing and taking up a lot of space in my already not that big of an apartment. Then it changed my routines because I had to process this alpaca, and it changed my knitting process because I didn't have time to knit. I was processing alpaca all the time. So yeah, I got into the routine. Every morning I was waking up, and instead of having my coffee first thing in the morning, I was walking to the bathroom, filling up my trusty bucket with some warm water and putting another big chunk of alpaca fiber into it. Now there is one life hack I found throughout the whole process of washing alpaca. For me, the thing that really helped was using a mesh bag, but instead of keeping alpaca inside the mesh bag, like a lot of tutorials online say, I was using it to pick out alpaca from the water from the bucket so that I don't irritate it and don't felt it by accident in the warm soapy water. So I was basically using it as a lift for all the alpaca fibers I had in the bucket, and it worked so nice. So first I was keeping it in the warm water for the fleece to kind of moisturize itself and open up. Then I would have another bucket with warm and soapy water. I was using some vegan dish soap. On the internet, they said that you need to use like a very small amount of dish soap because alpaca doesn't have lanolin, so there's nothing to melt there. Our grandpa, he was dirty. He was really dirty. So I was using quite a few pumps of it in every bucket, and then the third time I would rinse it, and every section of it was like 15 to 20 minutes of alpaca stain in the water. And then I would take the whole mesh with this alpaca and put it on the drying rack, like closed drying rack. So altogether in a day, I would be able to only work through 2 portions of alpaca because my closed drying rack is not that big, honestly. And I don't have another place to dry alpaca in. I have a balcony, but if you know me, I have already lost a few things to dropping it off the balcony, and I was not willing to lose alpaca to pigeons wanting to have a piece of it. Altogether, washing and preparing the fibers for picking took me about 2 weeks, and altogether we had 4.4 kilograms of alpaca. And I must say, even though I washed it quite a few times and I even had some like additional baths for alpaca, the water was already clean, but alpaca was not clean. This granddad is quite dirty. Even now I'm spinning alpaca. Spoiler alert, it's still very dirty. So after the yarn is done, I have to wash it like very, very nicely. Granddads, they do that. So after washing, it was time for picking. I ain't gonna lie, I still haven't picked all 4.4 kilograms, I have picked only the first bag. It took me about 2 weeks again. And picking is basically the process of just like separating individual hairs and fluffing it up so that you can use it in cardar further on, and also to clean your fiber a little bit from vegetable matter, nips and naps, and stuff like that. So this is the portion where you lose a lot of the weight of your fiber, because like there's a lot of things that gives the weight without being useful. In case of our granddad, it was mostly needles from Christmas trees and a lot of nips inside the yarn. But that was actually a fun process because you can watch TV, you can read a book, do anything. You don't really need to be concentrated on it. You just like pick through it. So that is time consuming, but it's not annoying. We're moving closer to the annoying part. The annoying part is carding. Now, I don't have a drum carder. I only got myself some hand carders. And as you can imagine, carding that amount of alpaca will take a long time. So I opted out to working about 100 grams at a time. At a time, not like in a day, but like in a portion. And after I'm finished with carding 100 grams, I spin it. I make these cute little roll legs and it works great for me and I don't get too tired. And I'm in no rush, so that is also good. Now, how do we get from this to Tour de Fleece? By the time Tour de Fleece started, I had my first box filled, completely filled, with small Rolex. I knew it was time. It was time to actually do something for Tour de Fleece. So when Tour de Fleece started, first of all, I joined Discord server of Eve from Knitting with Eve. She has the most cozy server of knitters and spinners, and people are just basically discussing what they're doing for Tour de Fleece, and they are also posting everything they're working with or plan to work with. And Eve is also counting how many meters altogether we have spun during Tour de Fleece, and she wants to make it her personal record for her community to spin 4 kilograms of yarn, I think. I'm not sure. It is a very cozy community that has a lot of fun, so I joined it, and I decided that I will set for myself 3 small goals for this Tour de Fleece, because I don't really have time to do Tour de Fleece right now. So like properly with like spinning literally every day, especially since I'm traveling a little bit here and there throughout July. So it's literally impossible for me to set the spin every day kind of challenge. But my main challenges were, number 1, which is already complete at the time I'm recording this video. And it was spinning the first 100 grams of alpaca and chain plying it. So now I can happily tell you that this challenge has been already complete, and I have this lovely squishy and soft hank of Pigalle yarn. It is 100 grams. It is 99% alpaca, 1% my husband's hair, because it's impossible to not spin those into anything I'm spinning. And I got 149 meters out of those 100 grams. When I'm telling you it's squishy, it's squishy. It's unbelievably squishy. It's basically a cloud. For challenge number 2, I decided to work through my stash of recycled silk that I got at the same market where we got the alpaca fibers. I bought 2 bats of recycled silk from Japanese kimonos. I got one light bat and one purplish, very much Northern Lights inspired bats of the silk, and I decided that I need to work through them because I feel like they're gonna be gorgeous in a contrast color for any kind of color work with all the sparkles and all the pieces of stellina inside. and it will be so soft and shiny and everything. But I really didn't have time to do it yet because it takes a lot of time. Silk is very silky and slippery, so I decided I will work on it. And actually, I finished one of them today. You can expect some pictures online very soon. And I have the second batch and I already started it. Hello, Nadya from the future here, because we have a change of plans. I was supposed to tell you that my third challenge is gonna be learning how to use a drop spindle, but turned out it got broken in delivery, so I have another challenge. I just bought this gorgeous braid of 21 micron merino from Fingernamed, and I am planning to spin it all by the time Tour de Fleece ends. It's 100 gram, and this goes from like this coffee color to this gorgeous hyacinth color. I knew I had to get it the second Amy uploaded photos. So by the time this video goes live, they are already online in her shop. So you can buy them at lemonknitdk, and you can use code lemonade15 for a 50% discount. This is not an ad, it was bought with my own money using my code lemonade15 though. And if anything, I hope that with this video I can show you that in order to participate in events like that, where you can find community, find some new people to discuss your hobbies with, you don't really need to do those events perfectly. Yes, I'm not spinning as much as other spinners are spinning during Tour de Fleece, because I can't fit it into my life the same way as they do. But I did have some time before that to prepare, so I also participated in this whole thing, and I have something to talk about with other people in the community. I am finding new friends. I am finding a lot of new creators to follow because a lot of people are posting about it. My point is, for example, there is a knit along where you are not sure you will be able to finish the thing you're supposed to knit during the knit along. So you just ignore it and move on with your life. But then you're missing out on the whole communication, maybe new friends, maybe some very nice advice you can get from the designer during communication with them during knit along, just because you are afraid of not doing something perfectly. And to be fair, not a lot of people are actually finishing knit alongs in the time that is allocated. It's more about being a part of it than actually finishing, because it's supposed to be fun, it's not supposed to be a drag. So of course you can challenge yourself to finish in time, but why don't you just participate and just have fun without actually making a huge commitment or something? Same goes for Tour de Fleece, same goes for anything in your crafting life, and to be honest, in your real life as well. Nowadays we are taking everything a bit too seriously, and we need to let go of all the stress that we are creating for ourselves and just breathe and enjoy the craft that we love. This is the thing I'm gonna preach forever, and I am so thankful to Amy for teaching me to spin and lending me her wheel that now, before the Tour de Fleece, I actually bought from her. So now it's officially my Loet S10. So now I have a wheel that I already managed to break during Tour de Fleece. I broke the connector in between treadle and the wheel, and my husband and I fixed it in the most genius way possible, because the PU tube you needed to order from Loet was like 10 euros with around 25 euros of delivery for a PU tube, mind you. So we got some hot glue gun sticks, cut it in shape of the tube and used it instead, and it works perfectly. Now, I'm not suggesting everybody does that. I am not a certified professional to give you advice on how to fix your spinning wheels. But for me, it worked. And since I am not ever keeping my wheel next to the sun just because I don't want my wheel, not because of the glue stick, but because it's wooden and I don't want it to be sun damaged. So it's not doing anything it's not supposed to. The glue sticks stay solid, and I'm very happy I didn't have to spend 35 euros and only spent about €1 and got 12 sticks. So if this one breaks, I still have 11 more. So thanks to Amy, thanks to Flitte Kline, who taught me how to chain ply during the market, because now I'm chain plying everything because it's so easy and gives me just like the perfect yarn. It's the perfect squishiness and I absolutely love it. And of course, thank you to Möllebacken's alpacas. This farm is such a great farm and the owner is so sweet, and I'm so happy that I was able to be a part of a journey of this cute alpaca grandpa actually becoming yarn. Hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one.